If you're a fan of pure offense, there was nothing better than the 1977-78 Quebec Nordiques. Most games, Quebec would score more than 5 goals or give up more than 5 goals. 80 games that year, there was a combined 700 goals, close to 700 goals, scored between the Nordiques and their opponents. And let me tell you, it showed in the fan base, it showed in the excitement on every game that was broadcast on radio and on television. Now, the 78 season kind of was the campaign that proved that the Nordiques could compete in a merged WHA NHL. It was their 6th season in WHA, and they were coming off a 47-31-3 record in a 77 campaign where they won the AFCO Cup. But in 78, they had some doldrums of January that pushed down the record to 40-37-3. They finished 4th overall in their division, made the playoffs, but they were almost unbeatable at road at home with a 29-10-2 record. The road was woeful with only 11-27-1 record. They scored 349 games at home and gave up They scored 349 goals and gave up 347, and the majority of the goals they scored were at home, and the majority of goals they gave up were on the road. Now, led by Maurice Filion, who was head coach for 20 games in a regular season, Marc Beaulieu was coaching as well. Their captain, Marc Tardif, of course, had the big season at the Colisée with 154 points, 65 goals, 89 assists, and led by the rugged Paul Baxter and the very defensive-minded Jean Bernier. Richard Bordeaux led the team with 18 wins, and he had a 3.70 goals against average. Now, WHA was struggling to enter the campaign. During the off-season, the league lost three teams, including the Calgary Cowboys, the Phoenix Roadrunners, and the San Diego Mariners, bringing the league down to 8 teams. The WHA abandoned the divisional format and grouped the remaining teams together. There had been a tentative agreement that would see the Nordiques, Cincinnati Slingers, Edmonton Oilers, Houston Aeros, New England Raiders, and Winnipeg Jets join the NHL. However, it could not be finalized. In a unique move, the Soviet All-Stars and Czechoslovakian All-Stars would play games that would count in the final standings, as he played each WHA team once. Now, after losing their opening 2 contests, the Nordiques would get hot and earn a 16-10-1 record through their opening 27 games to sit in second place in the league. Quebec would then fall into a slump in which they opposed a dismal record of 11-20-1 in their next 32 games to fall 3 games under 500. Now, they're out of the playoffs in 5th place. The slump would cost head coach Marc Beaulieu his job, as he was relieved of his duties and replaced, of course, with the great Maurice Filion. Under Filion, the Nordiques improved, earning a 13-7-1 record to finish the season 40-37-3 overall, with 83 points and 4th place in the association. Now, Quebec won the Bill Hunter Trophy, awarded annually to the player who leads the league in scoring. He led the association, of course, in goals of 65, and tied for the league lead with 89 assists for 154 points. Buddy Cloutier had another great season with 56 goals and 129 points in 73 games. Serge Bernier finished 3rd in league scoring with 78 points, despite missing 24 games, while the great Paulin Baudelot scored 42 goals in his 65 points. On defense, Gary Laverviere had a breakout season with 56 points, while Jean Bernier had 10 goals and 42 points. For the great J.C. Tremblay, continued to rack up the points, earning 42 in 56 games, and of course, Paul Baxter added 35 points, along with a team-high 240 penalty minutes as the remaining enforcer. Now in goal, King Richard Bordeaux missed some time due to injuries. However, he still led the team with 18 wins and a 3.70 goals against average in 36 games. Backup Jim Corsi, also well known to be one of the better two-sport major pro athletes in Quebec history, strong at soccer, had 10 wins and a 4.52 goals against average, while veteran Ken Broderick had 9 wins with a 4.37 goals against average. Now, Quebec, the January doldrums were terrible, ladies and gentlemen. Between January 6th and actually February 23rd, the only one, I think it was 8 games, and they were losing, some rough contests, ladies and gentlemen. They were having a hard time winning on the road, and that was the big negative right there. The big defeats were coming in February. They lost 8-4, 8-2, 5-1, 9-6, 6-4, and 5-2 to Houston, Cincinnati, New England, Indianapolis, Edmonton, and Winnipeg. So they would rarely win a 2-1 game, which is against New England on March 5th. But it was always either 6-5, 7-5. But they were losing by big numbers to Birmingham. Birmingham had their number, ladies and gentlemen. They lost 9-2 on March 9th. But really stood out for them, of course, was a big 5-game winning streak in late March, early April, and knocking off Cincinnati, Winnipeg, Houston, Edmonton, and Indy back-to-back, and that's where solidified their 4th place. Now, in the opening round of the playoffs, Quebec would face the Houston Aeros in a best of 7. The Aeros had finished the season 42-34-4, earning 86 points, and a 3rd place finish led by Gordie Howe. The series opened to Houston, and the Aeros won the series opener in overtime by a 4-3 score. However, the defending champion Nordiques evened the series with a 5-4 overtime victory in the 2nd game. The series eventually moved to Quebec for the next 2 contests, and the Nordiques took control of the series, winning the 3rd game 5-1, followed by a 3-0 shutout victory in the 4th game to take a 3-1 series lead. The 5th game was played in Houston, and the Aeros staved off elimination with a 5-2 thumping of the Nordiques, bringing the series back to Quebec for the 6th game. However, the Nordiques would dominate in the final contest, crushing the Aeros 11-2 to advance to the WHA semifinals. Now in the semifinal round, the Nordiques would face off against the New England Whalers. New England finished in 2nd during the regular season with a 44-31-5 record, earning 93 points. The Whalers had defeated the Oilers in 5 games in the opening round of the playoffs, and the series opened with 2 games in New England, and the Whalers took an early series lead with a 5-1 victory in the series opener. Quebec then fought back and tied up the series with a 3-2 victory in the 2nd game. The series then moved to Quebec for the next 2 contests. However, it was the Whalers who took control, defeating the Nordiques 5-4 in the 3rd game, following by a 7-3 win in the 4th contest to take a 3-1 lead. In the 5th game, the Nordiques were doubled 6-3 as the Whalers went on to win the series. Now, again, what was kind of unique here, ladies and gentlemen, the Finnish influence on the team. The great Matty Hagman had a strong campaign for the squad with 25 goals, 31 assists for 56 points. And of course, Quebec's big 3 led the way in the playoffs. Buddy Cloutier had 16 points in 10 games, including 9 goals. Tardif had 15 points, including 6 goals in 11 games. Serge Bernier had 14 points in 11 games, and of course, Paulin Bordelot had 10 points in 11 contests, and Paul Baxter led the defenseman with a 4, 7, and 11 point total in 11 games. Again, goaltending in the regular season, Brodeur 18, 15, and 2. Don McLeod was there for a while, 2 and 4. Kenny Broderick 9, 8, and 1, the ageless wonder. Jim Corsi went 10 and 7, and the European star Marcus Matson went 1 and 3. In the playoffs, it was mostly Brodeur. Broderick played 2 games, including 1 in relief. Now, what was kind of bizarre here, ladies and gentlemen, was the draft picks of WHA in the 78 entry draft. He took a whole bunch of players that went on to great success in the NHL, including Lucien Deblois, John Anderson, Tom Olson, Robert Picard, and Alain Côté, but didn't play a large factor that year. And of course, what was great about the Nordiques that year, again, every game they played, you were expecting a lot of goals, and that was the lure of the Nordiques. Now, they did have a little bit of color changes with their uniforms compared to in the mid-1970s, which we were seeing more and more the look of what they called the WHA merged Nordiques in 79-80. But I watched a lot of games of the 77-78 Nordiques, and to see Tardif again recovering from the Giorgio attack. I always thought Tardif was going to score 100 goals in a WHA season. Never happened, but he wasn't double shifted a lot this season, ladies and gentlemen. But let's look at this the rough talent we had that year. Now, again, Gary Laverriere had 56 points, Norm Dubé, Bob Finchner, Jean Bernier, J.C. Tremblay, Warren Miller, Paul Baxter, Steve Sutherland had 23 goals, of course, always well known for a good amount. Christian Bordelot was there, Andre Boudria, Kurt Brackenberry, Peter Driscoll, Jim Dory, Pierre Guité, Alain Côté, Francois Lacombe, Pierre Lagacé, Charles Constantine, Rick Morris, Don McLeod, Richard Brodeur, Chris Evans, Jim Corsi, Dave Inkpen, Marcus Manson, and of course the talented Wally Weir, who played a big factor in the playoffs that year with 3 points in 11 games, and Ken Broderick. Now, what was kind of interesting here, the Nordiques were known for almost a whole Quebec lineup, but this year finally a lot of players from Ontario broke in, including Laverriere, Bob Finchner, still a relatively young team, where J.C. Tremblay actually, he was the older by 7 to 10 years to about 95% of the team. And what was kind of ironic, ladies and gentlemen, he had a U.S. player, Warren Miller, for a while that season, and that was quite the front page story in his home region of South St. Paul, Minnesota, because a lot of people known Warren Miller to be a strong two-way player. And of course, he was double drafted in '74 by the Rangers and New England Whalers. And he had great success in the NHL and emerged, especially with Hartford when he had 22 goals in 1981. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the story of the 1977-78 Quebec Nordiques. If you like what we're doing here, give us a like, comment, or subscribe. Any thoughts about watching the Nordiques progress towards that NHL merger? Came really close that year, ladies and gentlemen, but better late than never. By the time Mark and the rest of the Nordiques arrived, they were more than ready and more than talented, as we say. Thanks for listening. Bye.